key. As a piece of music is produced, it will stick to the notes on the piano that correlate to the key it's in. A song produced in C major would mix harmonically with a song produced in A minor. There are also two other keys that will theoretically mix harmonically with C major. These are G major and F major. This is because it uses all but one of the same keys on the piano as C major. Thanks to DJ software, we don't need to have perfect pitch and be able to know the key of a song just from listening to it. There is a handy tool called the Camelot wheel which you can find on Google. This maps out all of the different keys onto a handy clock face. This notation can be found in Serato DJ Pro and also a third-party software called Mixed In Key, which we'll look at very shortly. All you need to know is there are a few simple rules to follow with the Camelot wheel. Back to our example of C major. This is 8B on the Camelot wheel. Now to mix harmonically, you can either stay the exact same, mixing 8B to 8B, or stay on the same number but change letter, 8B to 8A, or stay on the same letter but go up or down one number, 8B to 7B, or 8B to 9B. Why is this useful? Well, it's much easier to imagine a clock face in your mind than memorize which keys match with others.
I can already tell some of you are switching off by this, so bear with me. The relevance of the key of a track is there's certain keys that go really well together and certain keys that just completely clash with each other. All you need to know as a DJ is that if you want to get that perfect blend, it's better to blend keys in that go well with each other than blending one track that's of a certain key into another track that's of a key that would clash with this track, because it just naturally won't sound right when the two tracks are overlapping. So if you want to get the perfect blend, you need to know which tracks blend well into each other. I'm now going to show you a way that even if you're a complete beginner, you will fully understand exactly which tracks blend well into other tracks. Let's do it. Now, most of you have probably heard of keys like A major, C minor, but when it comes to DJing, you'll never see the songs written like this. Instead, they're written in numbers like this: 1B, 2B, 2A, 3A, whatever. And you'll see this under the column that says key. Now, these simply relate to different keys. So for example, 1B relates to B major, 2A relates to E flat minor. Generally, A relates to the minor key and B relates to the major key. Now, I know a lot of you are already thinking this is really boring, why does this matter? All you need to know is this, okay? If you were on a song that is 1B, songs that will go well with this song are 1 in, so 1A, or 1 to the side. So songs that would mix well with this would be 12B or 2B or 1A. So generally you go out or in, so from A to B or B to A, or 1 to the side. So one other example, if I was playing a song that's 5A, which is C minor, I know I can go to 5B, which would work well, or I can go to 4A or 6A. These are the keys. This is all you need to know, is this structure here, okay? So if you know nothing about keys at all, those are the keys you can go to. And that's all you really need to know about getting tracks to sound perfect with each other.
The two ones that are next to it, in this case F and G major. Another example would be actually A minor. For A minor, we can of course switch back to C or use the two ones that are right next to it. So for every key, you got exactly 4 options: the parallel key, the two ones right next to it. And they will match almost 100%. So basically when you start DJing that night, you start on one key, then you switch to a parallel key or to one that is right next to it, and then again use that as the base to switch again to your 4 options. I think that's pretty clear. You can either learn this by heart, both of these circles or one of them, or you can just print it somewhere really small, have it on your phone. That's also how I have it set up if I ever need it. The next big question is then actually, what does it sound like?
The library will display the Camelot key system. And with that done, let's move on to understanding the 3 general rules of mixing in key. So rule number 1 is to mix tracks of the same key. For example, 2A to 2A or 7A to 7A. Rule number 2 is to mix tracks of the same number. For example, 2A to 2B or 7B to 7A. Rule number 3 is to mix tracks one number up or one number down. For example, 2A to 3A or 2A to 1A. But what happens if the track you want to mix next isn't in key with the track you're currently playing? Is there anything you can do to get these tracks to harmonically mix with each other? Well, yes. And that
tutorial, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys how you can change the key of whatever loop and whatever session that you're in, how you can change the key so that the rest of your loops will automatically sync to whatever the new key is. All right, so for starters, what we're going to do, usually when you start opening, when you open up BandLab, this is kind of the default settings that you have here. It's usually set to 120 BPM, and then the song key is actually blank. But for measures, I gotta not forget to do this, to set my snap grid on. All right, so you might have a scenario where either you're using a loop that's not in BandLab, or if you kind of aren't, or you're working with a singer or you're singing on a track and like, you know what, I can't hit this key very well, let me change the key. So here's how you do that. So let's say I've got a loop. Let's say I found this vocal loop, Festive Jam. No. All right, vocal cluster, I like that one. So let's drag vocal cluster in. Now, in case you, oh man, let me do that again. In case you didn't know, BandLab lets you know the key of your loops. So for example, this one, vocal cluster, it's set to C minor. So right now I'm in C major. So originally it sounded like, those are all the majors. So originally it sounded like this. I'm going to adjust. Let's play this. All right, that's pretty dope. But I've got a loop that I made in another DAW that I want to import into BandLab and make a beat out of that. And so mine sounds like this. All right, the problem is that my loop, the loop that I created, is in B flat major. So if I drag it in here right now as it is, it's not gonna sound good. All right, so what I gotta do is I gotta change all that stuff up. First up is my loop is set to 152 BPM, so I'm gonna change the BPM to 152. And then we are going to adjust. And then my key is B flat major. So I'm going to change my key right here to B flat major. B flat major, change it. And now when I drag my loop in, it should sound much better. Man, I'm ready to make some fire with this right now. Anyways, so there you go. That's how you can change the song key of whatever beat or whatever session or whatever song that you're working on. Now, again, this will only work with the loops that come with BandLab. So for me, by default, I like to change the BandLab session to match my loop, so that way there's no confusion running along in the future.